Universal keeps copyright claiming this video, which is weird because a couple of my test uploads didn't get copyright claimed. But yet no matter what I do, when I upload the finished ones, they keep getting claimed. So I'm gonna have to put this sign over some of the clips. It's only in a few places, so it's not too intrusive, but it's still annoying. I'm sorry I have to do this. I'll put the version I wanted to upload onto my Patreon for free, link in the description below. It really sucks that some studios don't respect fair use, but what can you do? M3gan,
Megan.
whatever, is about a toy creator who makes an AI robot for her niece whose parents recently passed away. But things go wrong when the robot gets too smart. This movie was intended to be rated R, but then a dance in the trailer went viral on TikTok and the producers decided to reshoot and re-edit parts to get a PG-13. And some of what they edited looks and sounds just awful. It begins with an ad about this creepy looking Furby thing, and the main kid Katie has one because her aunt Gemma works at the toy company that made these horrors. She's driving up a mountain with her parents in the middle of a snowstorm, and Katie's dad can't see, so he just stops in the middle of the road, which causes them to get hit by a snowplow and die. Meanwhile, Gemma is working on the Furby thing when her co-worker brings in the face for her personal project, an artificially intelligent robot that is meant to be a toy for a child. Until her boss David comes in and is pissed off that she's working on this instead of the creepy Furby thing.
I begged you to please give me an option I could put on a shelf for $50.
And we are working on it. In each pet, we installed a listening model that targets conversational patterns among kids.
You did not just tell me that.
Did you see and hear that quick break in the editing? Well, that's because this was originally meant to be rated R. But then some stupid dance Megan does in the trailer got popular on TikTok, and Universal decided, let's make it PG-13 so these teens can see it. So they reshot some scenes and cut out all of the gore. But they also edited out all of the F words except for one. So there are times when there are these jarring breaks in characters' lines because they just removed the word and sped up the clip and hoped no one would notice.
You did not just tell me that. You did not just tell me that.
I know those are two different takes, but they still edited the line on the take they used. There are examples later where they obviously edited the same take. This happens a lot. Anyway, Gemma is showing David what M3gan,
Megan.
whatever, can do. But because he's stupid, Cole forgot a part and M3gan blows up. Alright, I promise I'll call her Megan from now on.
I want a swipe card for this door!
There that editing is again.
I want a swipe card for this door! I want a swipe card for this door!
I guess Katie survived the accident, so now Gemma's gonna be her guardian. This is gonna go great. They get to Gemma's house where her neighbor's dog jumps at the car.
Could you please keep your dog on your side of the fence?
Because that won't be used later.
Don't spray your chemicals onto my driveway, please.
Because that won't be used later.
Wanna borrow this once I'm done?
Because that won't be used later. See, all these things they're making sure you know will be used later? Holy shit, movie, have some goddamn subtlety. Anyway, Gemma doesn't have any kid stuff for Katie, so it's really awkward between them. The next day, I'm guessing the state sent a therapist to evaluate Katie and Gemma.
Hey, Katie, do you want to run and grab some toys to play with?
I don't have any toys here.
Not anymore. What about these ones up here?
Those aren't toys. They're Aunt Gemma's collectibles.
We can totally play with it. Do you want to play with them?
People have collectibles. It's okay to have collectibles. Gemma's not a bad guardian because she doesn't want Katie to play with them. But sure, force her to let Katie play with them. That's not teaching bad lessons at all. But whatever. That night, they actually start bonding over Gemma's work project. So Gemma shows her an interactive robot she made in college. Because that, you know what, never mind. After she shows Katie how Bruce works, she puts the gloves in a bin on the far end of the garage. Just keep that in mind for later. Katie is really interested in Bruce, so Gemma decides, screw this crappy Furby thing my job depends on, and starts working on Megan again. So her and her team spend God knows how long making this self-aware child's toy, and have a demonstration for their boss where Katie meets Megan. Apparently it goes well, and M3gan draws a portrait of Katie. Alright, I don't care how advanced M3gan is. Drawing this with markers would take hours. It's not like it's a digital image from a printer. Screw it. David's impressed and wants Gemma and her team to solely work on that now.
I want you all to remember this moment. The moment we kicked Hasbro right in the dick.
Oh look, another horribly done censor.
The moment we kicked Hasbro right in the dick. The moment we kicked Hasbro right in the dick.
Thanks, TikTok. I'll only show one more really bad one later, I promise. We then get some weird fake ad about how M3gan basically takes care of Katie for Gemma. That's not gonna cause a worrisome bond for this child at all, which Gemma's coworkers are concerned about, and the topic of Katie's parents dying comes up. And M3gan starts looking up details of their death and what death is because Gemma didn't implement any kind of parental controls or restrictions on things M3gan can research or discuss, even though that's the first thing you do when you make an AI robot, dumbass. Yeah, this is when you stop because this thing is getting too smart. But they decide, let's just continue on, and so now it's time for the storm to begin. Sometime later, Katie loses a toy arrow while playing, and M3gan finds it in the neighbor's yard. So M3gan goes to get it, and the neighbor's dog just rips into it and bites Katie. Look, to be fair, Gemma refuses to fix the fence, which is hers, and they did reach into the dog's territory. That's not to say that her neighbor is completely blameless though. Anyway, that night, because Gemma sucks at precautions, M3gan kills the dog. The next day, David is showing a presentation of M3gan for the board members, but Katie is too depressed to do it and just tells M3gan a memory she has of her parents. So M3gan records it and sings some weird song to Katie. But the board likes it and wants to manufacture these things commercially immediately. Yeah, this is gonna end well. Well, David's assistant, I don't remember his name, decided it was a good idea to steal files on the M3gan project. Sometime later, Gemma and Katie are at a park, and Gemma is trying to get Katie to eat her food, but she's too distracted playing with M3gan. Maybe a good feature would be to have M3gan encourage children to listen to their parents.
M3gan, turn off.
Why did you do that?
M3gan's not a person, Katie. She's a toy.
You don't get to say that.
Oh good. Katie's starting to think of M3gan as a person rather than a toy. That's not at all.
She's very impressive. And so they spend quite a bit of time together?
Yeah, that's essentially how M3gan works. She has to be paired with a child in order to learn.
You could be building emotional connections with this doll that are too hard to untangle.
No kidding. It's almost like creating a self-aware doll with no safety parameters and giving it to a child is a bad idea. Well, M3gan is beginning to become argumentative and undermines Gemma's decisions with Katie. Lovely. Gemma takes Katie to some outside school thing. And because she doesn't know how to say no or establish boundaries, Gemma lets Katie take this $100,000 prototype that her company is worried about leaks of and just put it on the toy table for anyone to grab. The teacher has the kids wander around in the woods collecting chestnuts. Seriously, what the hell? And standard bully here bullies Katie. So M3gan comes in to rescue her, and since Gemma didn't put any safety precautions in her code, she ends up ripping his ear off. But since they had to make it PG-13 for TikTok, they cut the part out where it shows his ear tearing off. So it just looks like she let go, but yet it's torn off. She then chases him around and gets him hit by a car. What a great toy for a child. But whatever, Gemma's neighbor is freaking out about her missing dog. So now it's time for M3gan to use the power washer and chemicals from earlier to kill her too. They PG-13ified this too because God forbid this movie be rated R. God, I hate TikTok. After getting questioned by the police, Gemma figures maybe her psychopathic robot had something to do with it. But surprise, surprise, M3gan's recordings and GPS coordinates are corrupted. And now M3gan is refusing direct commands. Now Gemma shuts this down and takes M3gan to the lab while Katie freaks out.
I know that you're upset, but there are ways that we can work through this. Oh my God, okay.
Katie, that's enough. Stop that right now. Stop it. Let go.
Jesus Christ. Oh yeah, let's give this toy to every kid whose parents can afford a $10,000 doll. What a great idea. Speaking of which, David is freaking out about the launch because the coordinator didn't invite enough people.
And you know, I think it would be really cool if we had some little kids up there and stuff.
What? No, I don't want any kids on stage. You know what you could do, Kurt? That would really benefit this discussion? And get me a kombucha!
Did you hear how bad those 2 edits were?
What? No, I don't want any kids on stage. What? No, I don't want any kids on stage. And get me a kombucha! And get me a kombucha!
That's because of the last-minute censoring to make this PG-13. God damn it, TikTok. Anyway, Gemma and Katie are ditching the M3gan launch. Meanwhile, M3gan tries to kill Gemma's co-workers and blows up the lab. And David runs into M3gan in the hallway, where she does that stupid dance from the trailer that got popular on TikTok, and grabs a paper cutter. For the record, I really do hate TikTok, but for about a million other reasons outside of this. She chases him down the hallway and stabs it through him just as he's about to get into the elevator. But of course, to be PG-13, it can't show blood, so there just isn't any, and the blade is barely through him. And she kills the assistant by making it look like a suicide, rather than just slicing his throat. In the context of the scene though, this change I actually kind of like. M3gan leaves, steals a car because I guess she can control their systems now, and goes home to confront Gemma.
I didn't come here to get into a confrontation. I came here to find a way forward.
Why does she sound like Gladys from Portal? Alright, I didn't say anything when she ripped someone's ear off because it's an ear. But since then, M3gan has prevented an adult woman from getting up, thrown a grown man against a pole, stabbed a paper cutter through a person twice, and slammed someone against a table. Do you know how much hydraulic pressure and structural strength it would take for a robot to do that? This is supposed to be a doll for children. Why make her so strong? This is a toy, not a bodyguard. What the hell is Gemma doing? Apparently, M3gan isn't waterproof either. God, this robot sucks, because a glass of water causes her to short circuit. So it does a scary chase into the garage. What is Gemma doing? That's not even in M3gan's way. She just dropped things for no reason and gave M3gan a weapon. Anyway, Katie sees them fighting and decides to use Bruce to help. But how did she get the gloves? They were left in a bin at the far end of the garage, where they're fighting. It doesn't matter. She uses Bruce to rip M3gan in half. But oh no, that didn't kill this robot. So Katie uses a screwdriver to destroy her CPU. Yay, they survived the killer robot. That's great and all, but Gemma still made a robot that murdered several people. She's not gonna just get away with that. I actually don't mind this movie. It's not great by any means, but it's not bad. I don't really believe it was ruined by changing it to PG-13, but I do find it annoying. When I was watching this in theaters, I thought I heard breaks in characters' lines, especially with David. Once I found out they cut it from R to PG-13, it made sense because they were editing out the F words. It's not the worst editing I've ever seen, but it does look and sound unprofessional for a multi-million-dollar project. If you're going to make your movie with an R rating in mind, just make it rated R. The acting is pretty mediocre. Allison Williams is alright as Gemma. She's good at acting like she knows what she's talking about when advertising and working on M3gan. She's okay when Gemma is interacting with Katie, but there are times where her line delivery is not believable. Violet McGraw is not good as Katie. She sounds flat and has no emotions when Katie is having a serious conversation, and she sounds whiny and annoying when Katie is supposed to be angry. Amy Donald and Jenna Davis are great as M3gan. Basically what they did was have Davis provide the voice and Donald acted out the physical movements. Davis does a great job making her speech patterns sound robotic, but yet she can add emotion to it when M3gan is angry. And Donald is fantastic at moving and dancing in a robotic way. The visual effects are really good overall. M3gan was made by having Jenna Donald in a suit performing all the stunts. Then they used CGI to make her look like a robot, and it looks great. She actually looks like a robot with doll-like features, and there's really only a few times where she looks kind of off. They changed the rating from R to PG-13 for TikTok or whatever the director claimed, which is fine. I just wish they had done it in a more professional way. Or maybe if you're going to make a movie that's obviously going to be aimed at teenage girls, make it PG-13 in the first place.
If you want to see an uncensored version of this video or any of my other videos, check out my Patreon. If not, I appreciate you watching my video here too. Don't forget to do the YouTube stuff, and thanks for watching.